Hi, welcome back. So we've been talking about classification, and I kind of want to cut this chapter a little bit different because we can. And back at the beginning of the school year, if you roll all the way back probably to chapter 1 notes, when the topic was the unity and the diversity of life, we drew a diagram, kind of a really rough diagram of the tree of life. And let's see if I can find one here. Nope, this is not the right binder. Oh, well, you can look back and find, oh wait, here. We go back to the very beginning. We talked and we drew this picture here. And what it's showing is the tree of life from the kingdom perspective. So there's two ways of drawing, or maybe there's more now, but you know, for our purposes, there's two main ways of drawing the tree of life. There's the kingdom-based model, and there's the domain-based model. In the kingdom-based model, it looks a lot like this, where the base of your tree, I want to draw a more up-to-date or more complete. So do this, get yourself a fresh, clean piece of paper, and this will be very helpful later when you reach AP Biology, because you'll really have a good understanding of how life is categorized and organized and what living things are in these different little pockets. So the first thing we want to look at is, if we're looking at the kingdom model, the kingdom model is based on the bacteria being divided into two groups. So if we were to draw at the very bottom of our piece of paper a trunk, we could call that trunk the bacteria. And the bacteria are made up of two main groups, and they are the archaebacteria let me make that a little bigger. Archaebacteria and the eubacteria. And without a doubt, there are recently articles and scientists and folks who would like to change this, or maybe some even recognize this as an older classification method. But your book and many textbooks are still kind of rolling this model. So that's what we're going to stick with. So when I say all that, what I'm saying is that there are some folks that would say the bacteria should be divided into additional kingdoms. There was once a time that the bacteria alone was a single kingdom, but over time, the folks said, okay, you know, there's such a big difference between the archaebacteria and the eubacteria that we need to divide that out. So a long time ago, there were 5 kingdoms of life. And then over time, because this split here, it's been changed to 6. And it may be considered changed again. But like I said, we're not going to get into that. So, but we know bacteria and what they look like. They are single-celled organisms without a nucleus or any membrane-bound organelles. And of course, what that means is they don't really have mitochondria, and they don't really have chloroplasts. And so there are some different types of bacteria classifications in eubacteria. And since this is our common everyday bacteria, it's the ones we see and the ones we fear for illness and food poisoning and stuff like that. There's the circular shaped ones, there's the rod shaped ones, and there's these long filament shaped ones. So these guys here, they make up the majority of the living things on Earth. believe it or not. So then if we move on our tree of life, we don't want to get stuck down here, even though this is infinitely exciting. There is a chapter in your book all about bacteria that you could hone into and take a look at. Remember, bacteria's claim to fame is that they have no nucleus and no well, they have a couple things. They have no nucleus, they have no membrane bound organelles, and they have circular DNA. All of them. So it's kind of like a rubber band that's attached to the inside of the cell membrane. And so their DNA kind of follows a different order than ours does. All right, but let's move past the bacteria and what we can do on our drawing, and we probably did this last time when we did our simplified drawing, is if we make a dashed line across, we can say anything below this dashed line is prokaryotic, and everything above the dashed line is going to be eukaryotic. So without a doubt, something happened here in the history of life on Earth to move those chromosomes to take on the X-shaped structure that they have today in the eukaryotes, for the nucleus to evolve, for the Golgi, or the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi body, those membrane systems to evolve. And of course the chloroplasts and mitochondria. So we could say at this point in the history of life on Earth is when symbiosis took place. We've talked about this word time and time again. We've even referred to it as the endosymbiont theory. This is an important word, and if you're right now sitting there looking at your phone or your screen and you're thinking, I really don't remember what that word is, now's a good time to make a real effort to memorize what endosymbiosis means, because it's the big thing that happened between the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes that allowed for this entire kingdom, set of kingdoms, not just one, but many kingdoms, to come about and exist. And it's pretty darn important because it's, you know, kind of tied into the history of life on Earth in a big way. So I just drew some lines here. You might want to try to copy those. So what is endosymbiosis? This is the point at which the mitochondria and the chloroplasts came to be engulfed inside the cell, making it possible for cells to become multicellular. So this is where the mitochondria, let's just draw a little mitochondria, and we'll draw a cell kind of engulfing that mitochondria and taking it in and not eating it, but instead making it part of its body. And the same is true with the chloroplasts. And the chloroplasts take up and fill in this side of the tree of life. The other side of the tree of life only got mitochondria. So over here we could draw mitochondria, but no chloroplast, illustrating, maybe childishly, but illustrating that mitochondria came to be over here, and over here we have both mitochondria and chloroplast. So I'm going to color that sort of that green color. I'm going to do this sort of that gut color, and they're going to be engulfed by these larger cells and become eukaryotic. So prokaryotes became eukaryotes at this point in the history of life on Earth. And this point is way down here. just past the bacteria as we move up. So endosymbiosis takes place. And here we're going to skip this. Actually, we could do this right now. That's fine. We're going to create a bridge across right there, and we're going to fill it in after we fill. No, we'll do it right now. What the heck? In this bridge across, we're going to write in the lichens. Lichens. Lichens are a colonial organism that are both